Hello and welcome to another video. Yesterday, the 25th anniversary edition of KDE Plasma was released, and the KDE-based independent distribution called KaOS showcases it in their latest ISO. I find this intriguing, so let's take a look at both today. KaOS is KDE exclusive and is based on nothing but its own repositories and Pacman as the package manager. That's pretty much the only thing it has in common with Arch Linux, as their philosophies couldn't be more different. Instead of the Arch way, with its maximum control and flexibility during and after installation, KaOS Linux has a laser focus on the KDE experience and a limited and curated set of self-hosted packages, most of which seem to be the most popular. So it's a very different audience being addressed here, and I'm not part of this audience. Still, KaOS seems very interesting to me from an intellectual standpoint, as is KDE 5.23. So, I'm taking one for the team here, and we'll walk through a default install of KaOS 2021.10 on a VM. So, we're booting the ISO. We'll stick with the default and see what happens. So it mounted the KDE OS ISO volume successfully. It's good to know. All right. There's a nice wallpaper. Plasma for KaOS. I think that's how it's pronounced. All right, let's close these notifications here. And we've got the welcome screen here. Let's go straight ahead here. And so the passwords are listed here for the live environment. A blurb about KaOS philosophy and what it's all about, and what it needs. And here we've got the package list of everything it wants to install. So let's go ahead and click install, which seems to launch a nice Calamares installer, nicely themed. So the release notes, there's the release notes for KaOS 2021.10. You can read. So they're using Calamares 3.2.45. Fairly recent. Let's click next. So they spotted me as being near Seattle. That's good. English keyboard is fine. So they give you an option of LibreOffice, no Office Suite, or just a minimal Plasma desktop install. So I'm going to stick with the default, which is LibreOffice. And here you can erase the disk. And so XFS is by default. You've got some swap options here. You can choose XFS or ext4. You can also do manual partitioning if you want to use BTRFS. The new Calamares does BTRFS. Great, and it's useful for snapshotting. We'll stick with the defaults, which include systemd boot. You can also try Refind or no bootloader if you have one already configured. We don't, so we'll stick with the default systemd boot and click next. So I'll put in Steven here for my name. We'll call this machine KaOS. Give myself a password. And yeah, make it a root password as well. Okay, so a couple of partitions it wants to create with the systemd bootloader. Let's install now. So we can use the left mouse button to go to the next slide and the right mouse button to go to the previous slide. And it says there's going to be a delay between 10% and 30%. So it tells us what it wants to do. So 25 post-install modules will run. Default Office suite is LibreOffice, which we selected. You can also select Calligra if you prefer. It's from the repositories. So they have a Falcon web browser and KDE telepathy. Octopi is the GUI package manager. And finally, they suggest that KaOS be a pleasant experience for us. So all that's left to do is wait until it's finished installing. All right. So it's done. Let's restart the system. And we'll go with the default option here. You also have a fallback option, so it's good to have. So I'll put in my password. And we're waiting for the first session to come up. First login. Okay, so we've got Croeso, or Croeso, which is, I believe, Welsh for welcome. Anyway, we've got the widget style here. So it's using the Quantum widget style. I got a bunch of other ones available. Right, let's minimize this. Let's fix the screen resolution here, since it's kind of blurry and not all the elements fit within this little window. So 1920 by 1080, 60 hertz refresh, looks good. A little funky mouse cursor there. Could be artifact of the that we're running on a VM. So anyway, we've got Midna theme for the Plasma style. Midna is hosted on KaOS's GitHub. If you want to take a look at what they did there. Window decorations, we've got Breeze, Midna Dark, Midna Flat Narrow, Wide, Blue, Gray, etc. Okay. That's good to have. Mouse behavior. So our virtual machine has this generic Explorer mouse, so you can do some configurations there. The icon set, we've got, again, Midna. Is the icon set. Midna or Midna Dark is available, as well as the usual KDE sets. Very attractive. We've got a couple of virtual desktops configured by default. Okay, so we can do the settings for the virtual desktops there. Screen settings, we've already seen this. Refresh rate went back to 50 hertz. That's interesting. For the colors, a whole bunch of color combos here you can choose. I mean, this is KDE, so lots of configuration items and choices. So Midna is the default. We'll stick with that. And looks like the fonts are based on Noto, with Deja Vu Sans Mono as the mono font. Cool. Under packages here, we have for web browsers, we can add Firefox, Chrome, Opera, or the Otter browser, the classic Opera. Let's do Firefox, open source. So it uses the Pac-Man in a terminal. So let's go ahead and install. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Pac-Man 6. Seems to be. Okay, I'll close that. It's done. So under wallpaper, got the latest here. Available wallpapers. Very nice. Makes it easy so you don't have to go hunt for wallpapers if you don't want to. These are the popular wallpapers apparently. Yeah, we haven't downloaded any yet, so these are the oldest. Seems very similar to the newest. Okay, here they talk about how to ask Smart for help. That's good. All about Pac-Man, switching NVIDIA GPUs, additional kernels if you need them. The KaOS community packaging, and also the forum. Let's take a look at the KCP here. Let's see what we got here. KaOS community packaging. Yeah, packages. Okay. Gives you a guide on how to submit working package builds, just like AUR and Arch Linux in that regard, superficially. Yeah, so it tells you how to set up packages. It's part of the community effort, seems to me. Very nice. We also have a link to the forum. Okay, so looks like we've got a forum where you can ask questions if you ask smartly, right? Under advanced, we have firewalls. So this will open up various KDE system settings. So for the firewall, we have the Canonical's Uncomplicated Firewall, UFW. Okay. Under energy savings, this is a VM, so we can turn off screen energy saving. Okay, but you see the usual suspects there. Under system daemon, so we have 1.6 gigabytes of memory used. Fairly heavy. We have Chorizo and Octopi Notifier running as the startup applications. Here we've got a system cleaner where you can clean caches and logs and things like that. Search. Here are the services running or not running. Here are the current processes running. Let's see what we got here. A whole bunch of them, actually. Yeah. Pretty much the usual suspects. I'm not seeing the K-user feedback spyware stuff here, so that's good. Don't like seeing that. Not my favorite part of KDE. So you got the resource usage here. Okay, the etc host file. And some of the settings here for the app, Stacer app. All right. So here we've got the add user KDE settings module. So you can add your new user here, either standard or administrator. Also under network management, we've got a wired connection already going here with the usual configuration items. You can also add things like a whole bunch of different sorts of VPN connections, including importing a VPN connection configuration file. That's pretty cool. That's all set up. Got KDE wallet for passwords and so forth. You can set this up here. including access control. Okay, pretty much the usual stuff. We can also configure the search. Can also Octopi and the cache and also the default apps. So it looks like we don't have an email client installed. We probably can install some clients using Octopi. Okay, about, again, it talks about the ideas behind KaOS. And, every package is built for and by them. It's good to know what the target users are. So 2021.10 release is the latest news. Okay, let's quit that. Let's start the console and let's take a look at the LSB release file. So yeah, distri ID is KaOS. It's a rolling release. We already knew that. It's good to confirm. File system table shows two UUIDs for two partitions, a boot EFI partition and an XFS root partition. The kernel is 5.14.11, compiled October 9th. So free-h shows 731 megabytes. That's a medium RAM consumption in my experience. Let's do a pacman-syu, make sure we're up to date. Looks like it says we are. So we've got core, main, and apps as the three KaOS repositories, and that's it. So Octopi shows INXI and SysLinux as the upgradables, but it looks like it didn't have anything to do. Okay, interesting. All right. I guess that's what's already done. Just a little glitch in the matrix here. Let's take a look at the application launcher. And let's look at the settings. So the launcher has been updated in 5.23. So in addition to the list, you can also show other applications in the grid. So let's apply that. This shortcut will activate the applet, so you can set the shortcuts here. So yeah, okay, that's the launcher. So on development, we've got these: education, games, I guess a solitaire-like. Graphics is here. Internet, we've got the usual suspects. MPV and SM Player are there in multimedia. That's good. Office, we've got the LibreOffice suite. Let's check the version number of LibreOffice. 7.2.1.2. Fairly recent, if not the most recent. Okay. So under settings, we've got the Quantum Manager and system settings. And under system, usual tools. Front and center, of course, is Octopi. Let's go to the system settings here. We've seen most of these already with the Welcome app. I want to take a look at About the System. So KaOS 2021. There's that funky mouse cursor again. Don't know what that's about. I've not seen this before. So Plasma is 5.23. We're running Wayland. Could be a Wayland issue too. Wayland on KVM, maybe a little dodgy there. That's all right. We'll agree to ignore that. So Octopi. Yeah, so that's a list of curated apps. Looks like we've got here, all grouped. On the right pain. Let's check for updates one more time. Nothing found. You can also install local package files. We've got all the repositories enabled here. Core, main, and apps. Do a check and synchronize with mirrors. Looks like they're all synced already. Cache cleaner, sysinfo. Yes, so if you're going to ask questions in the forum, this will run Inksy, etc., so that you've got a complete system description there for asking your question. So yeah, I got the standard Octopi backend. It checks once a day for updates. Yeah, this is running Octopi version 0.12, development version. Qt 5.15, which is fairly recent. Almost bleeding edge. Okay. Let's launch XEyes, and let's do the Wayland copy-paste test. So XEyes is an X application, so you can determine which part of the screen is running under Wayland and which part of the screen is on Wayland or an X11 app. So the eyes move only on X11 apps, other X11 apps, but it's not aware of Wayland, so the eyes don't move. So Firefox is an Wayland X11 app. So let's do some simple middle mouse button click copy pastes here. So faster, and I'll middle click here. Yes. So the console is Wayland, Firefox is X11. Copy paste works that direction. Let's select KaOS under KaOS. Let's go the other direction. Middle click. Yes, paste KaOS. So you just click, click, click. Yeah. So copy paste with the middle mouse button works just fine between Wayland and Wayland apps. It's good to know. Let's see, you've got Python 3 is version 3.8.12, kind of older. GCC version is 10.3.0, also rather older. So it is rolling and yet conservative at the same time. KaOS is. Interesting. So definitely not bleeding edge in this regard. Okay. So, trying to get the welcome again. Well, let's just do this system info. So yeah, there we go. These are the versions we're running under Wayland. Very slick. KaOS is definitely geared toward those seeking a lean and bloatware-free KDE-based Linux experience. Therefore, I find it interesting that they chose a rolling release model and don't seem to enable snapshotting the system by default. It's not my cup of tea, but it does showcase the latest KDE release very well. I'm really looking forward to setting up my Arch boxes with a new KDE release. Modest RAM consumption, and max configurability. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more of these videos, please comment below, like, and subscribe. Until next time, take care.